What's up, YouTube? Well, I got the Trailfinder 2 running pretty good now. I'm happy with the suspension. I got the 3-link in the front, 4-link in the rear, the narrow wheels, narrow hubs. So now I'm going to start messing around with the scale stuff. You see, I've got quite an assortment of things laying around. I've got this axial tree with some guns and shifters, and got some neat little scale parts. Proline stuff, some eBay stuff, homemade stuff, spare tire. So I'm gonna start looking at ways I can strap some of this stuff down. That's one of the problems with doing scale stuff with the Mojave body and drop bed. There's nowhere to really hook anything to. You can use magnets or bungee cords, but you gotta have somewhere to hook all the bungee cords to. So that's what we're gonna look at today. First, I did want to talk about the winch. As you can see, I did go ahead and put a winch on my bumper. And it is not functional because my controller doesn't have it's 3-channel, but the 3rd channel is not proportionate. So it's either off or on. There's no forward, reverse, in between. I've been looking at upgrading controllers, but for now I just wanted to fill that giant fat lip on the truck because it had all that space. And I'll tell you a little bit about that first. Alright, so this was a real pain in the ass. No way of putting it lightly. All these RC4wd bumpers, I mean, this bumper was about $70, and I had to buy a custom mount for it from RC4wd, which is another $16-18, and they all have holes for the winch, but the winches don't fit. You can bolt it in, but it's going to be either too far forward or too far back. So they want to sell you another $18 option to buy a winch mounting plate set. It comes with 3 different plates. So I spent about 2 hours messing with this. I flipped the plate, I drilled new holes in it, I tapped them. Still couldn't get it to work, so I ended up flipping the mounting plate around backwards so the winch set further forward. Had to take the fair lead off the winch, so it doesn't have one, it just uses the bumper. And I had to trim about 2.5 millimeter off the front of the winch plate, just so it would line up the holes. And it still sets pretty tight against the body. Now I know the issues with it hitting the body are all my fault because I trimmed the custom bracket down about 5 millimeters, so the bumper sets like a real truck right up against the body. So that's my fault. But the bumper, the winch bolting to the bumper is all an engineering thing. Seems like they just, nickel and dime you. You got $100 in there before you even get a winch on it. It's just an expensive process. But I made it work. Luckily you can't see my mounting bracket where it's been trimmed and all that, so it's in there and it'll function. It's bolted down with 4 screws, so it's not going to go anywhere. It's nice and tight. It does sit right up against the body, but like I said, that's my fault. But it looks scale, and it's not affecting how the body fits on or anything, so it works. I've got my hook tied back on to one of my D-rings in the front, my shackles. And it needed that. It really needed that to fill out the front of the truck. I may still come back and paint the air dam, or the part of the body behind the bumper there. I may paint that black just so it doesn't stick out so much, because it's kind of noticeable on this side of the winch. Not sure you can really see it from the angle you're at, but you can still see where the bumper mounting hole was. So I may paint that up, but for now I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to move on to some scale stuff. Alright, so I went ahead and ripped the interior out. It's kind of a pain. I will warn you, these front 3 screws that go into the bottom of the Mojave body, they're very fragile. So the less you take them in and out, the better off you'll be. My other body, they're all stripped out. I've put bigger screws in it, and it's just a mess. You can see my interior is not anything super special. It's just a remade bruiser interior. It's just got the seat, floor, nothing on the dash. I painted this with I don't think it was a Tamiya paint, and it's kind of textured. So I put this dash stickers on it, and they fell off shortly after I put the interior back in the truck. So I haven't come up with a solution for that yet. I'm leaning more towards just waiting and getting a CC hand scale dash. One of my other Mojave bodies, I have the door panels, and I love them. I thought about putting that interior in here, but it's already painted a dark brown, and I don't know how I feel about that with the blue. I think the light's hand looks better, and it stands out, and you can see it better. But all I've got so far, got my bruiser driver. His knees up. Looks like the Marlboro Man. He's not the best looking fella in the world, but inside the truck you can barely see how bad his hair is. I've weathered his jacket a little bit with powders to try and make it look like fabric instead of shiny brown. A little bit dirty. Painted the steering wheel two-tone. It's got a handmade CB radio that I bought from someone. It's made out of clay. He's holding the mic, which is pretty cool. I had the hell of a time breaking his arm loose because I added the CB radio later. And for carpet, I use just a sticky backed felt sheets. You can get them at any Walmart or Hobby Lobby. My girl found that for me. Got me some. And I've got this Proline box over here just Velcroed down in the floorboard just for something. So I'm not going to add a whole lot on the inside. I'm going to add a shifter, and I'm going to put the gun rack here in the back window. I'm not sure how I'm going to attach that yet. And I am only going to run one rifle. It came with two. And I was thinking about painting it brown. I didn't really have any good brown brush paint, so I went ahead and tried to do some of the barrel and stuff in a stainless look. And it came out pretty neat. My paint marker's old, so I just dabbed on a whole bunch and then I started wiping it down. Did a couple coats. Kind of gives it a weathered look. I don't know. Looks better than just all black plastic. I got the barrel and the trigger and the bolt, and so all the other stuff's still mostly black. There's a little bit of silver smeared around on it, but I think it looks alright. The back window, you're not going to be able to see it. It's just not a whole lot anyway. So I did have one other thing I was going to try to do. I had an extra rear view mirror from my D110 kit, but I don't know how I'm going to attach it. The way the Mojave window is, you can see it hanging down in there. It's all Lexan. I'm not sure how I would really attach it to that, so I may hold off on that. But I already drilled a hole here in the floor for my shifter, and I got this shifter off eBay. Oh, focus. And it's got a little, come on. It's got a little dice on it. It's an 80s Toyota pickup. Who didn't have a dice shifter? And it's blue. Not the same shade of blue, but it's blue. So I tapped it with a little extra screw I had from my winch debacle and drilled a hole in there. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Alright, I got the shifter in. I like it. It's kind of silly. Probably won't even be able to see it inside, but it needed a shifter. So next I'm going to start messing around with this gun rack, seeing how I can get it in there. I'm afraid I'm just going to have to glue it. And I hate gluing around the window because it tends to turn white, all that stuff, and it spreads on that plastic window pretty badly, but we'll see. I'm going to get the other windshield out and take a look. Alright, so these are going to take a while to dry. I started out using some Tamiya cement, and all that did was really take the paint off. So I guess that's good. I wiped it away, took the paint off, so I got bare plastic, and I've glued it down with some of my old 10-year-old tube of household welder. So it's going to take a little while to set up. It's kind of a gel, but I think it'll hold a lot better. I put them up on the higher side because the way the bruiser seat, it comes up in the back window. I'm afraid I'm going to have issues with it hitting. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it doesn't cause any problems. Probably should have test fitted it, but there's really no way to hold those in place and put this interior in and test it. So we'll just have to cross our fingers. Alright, got the interior and everything back in. Gun rack got dried enough to go ahead and put it all back together. Let's see if I can cranky back down here. Moved it up a little bit to clear the seat. Worked out pretty well. And put that one rifle in there. Just little stuff, not anything major. Now I'm going to start looking at tie downs for the bed. I've got to make something because I want to carry a spare tire and a cooler and a few odds and ends back there. So I'm going to start looking at making some kind of attachment point for my bungee cords. Alright, so I was thinking of something like this for a tie down, but it's just a little crude. I didn't want to have to screw those into the sides of the bed. So I came up with this idea. This is just some sheet metal, and I drilled a big hole, a small hole, and I just kind of used some tin snips to cut them to the shape I needed, close to what I needed. It don't look kind of crappy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my roll bar off, and I'm going to mount them under the edge of the roll bar. And then the big hole will stick out, and I can use that as a tie down. So each 4 screw that holds the roll bar on will hold one of these underneath the edge of it, and it won't stick out and it won't be too noticeable, hopefully, and they won't break. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those on and see how it looks. Alright, so here's my tow hooks. Bolted down underneath the edge of the roll bar. Got 4 of them. Hardly noticeable. It'd be better if they were black, but once you get stuff floated up in there, you won't even be able to tell. So now I'm going to try to put a spare tire, cooler, maybe some of these tarps. I don't know what else. Let's see what fits. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Zoom me in here. Get you a better angle. A whole lot of stuff. Just enough, I think. It fits pretty nice. Strapped down pretty well. Got a shovel. It's kind of loose. My tarps, tow strap, gas can, cooler, and a 155 mud thrasher. Once it gets dirty, I think it'll look pretty good. Really happy with how those tow hooks came out. They're not too noticeable. They work. You can see my gun rack there in the back window, kinda. So overall, I'm really loving this truck now. Really happy with this truck. Hope you can take some of my ideas and use them on your own trucks. Just having fun today. Nothing too serious. So it's nice to share with everybody. I hope everybody's having fun with their RC. But anyways, thank y'all for watching, and please like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more to come. I don't know what we're going to do next.